Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, January 28th City Council work session meeting. Excited to see everyone here tonight. I know we have a lot of things to talk about, to include the marathon and city auditor, and then would love the city manager to talk about perhaps some of the federal freezing implications, just a little bit in your comments, Alan. I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, everyone. As the mayor indicated, the first item on the agenda is an update on preparation for the 11th annual One City Marathon. Of course, this event has become a source of pride, unity, and an opportunity to showcase our city while supporting health and wellness initiatives for employees and residents. Owen Miller, our Chief Strategy Officer, is here to provide details on the upcoming race weekend. Owen?
Thank you, Alan. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So it is, with the turn of the year, preparations really ramp up. As Alan mentioned, this year will be our, hard to believe, but our 11th annual One City Marathon. The race began in 2015, excuse me, and has been running every year since then. Almost since the first few years, it has been the first weekend of March. While a lot of things have changed over the now 11 years since its inception, some things remain the same, including the goals of the race. So it really was designed to promote civic pride and unity, hence the One City. It is a point-to-point throughout the whole city, and it really does bring everybody out throughout the city to unite behind one goal that weekend. It's to build upon our healthy living initiatives, health and wellness initiatives, and that's both for our city employees, but also the larger community. While obviously the races go on that weekend, we also have a lot of pre-race events, health and wellness events that go on that is open to the public, and we encourage everybody to come on out. There's actually one of those going on tonight. It's also to gain exposure. So of the roughly 3,000 or so attendees that we had, or registrants for all the races, about half come from outside Hampton roads. So it really is an opportunity to showcase all the great things that we have going on throughout the city. As I said, it is at least the marathon itself is a point-to-point, and you really get to see the entire length and breadth of the city, including all the great assets that we have. Starting in Newport News Park, running all the way down here to essentially Victory Landing Park, right down here in downtown. So it is a way to feature all the great things that we have in the city. And then finally, we've gotten a great reputation in the racing community as being a fast and flat course, which it very much is. And then the final point is that it is, as our strategic plan outlines, it's an opportunity to have a little bit of fun. Not every city gets the opportunity to do this. We certainly do and have embraced it, and it's a way to get the community out, community involved, and really to have a little bit of fun as well. Before touching on some of the highlights of what we have planned for the 2025 race, I wanted to give just a little bit of a recap on the 2024 race. So last year we had 3,039 registrants. That was actually 3 short of the record, so we were excited to get there. We currently, never can tell, but knock on wood, we're currently projected about 10% higher than we were last year, spread out throughout our races. So we think we may actually break the record this year. Obviously, we will see come race weekend. This is how the actual participants break down in terms of our 4 races. And what it doesn't show is actually we also have 2 challenges for those particularly dedicated runners. You can choose to race on both Saturday and Sunday. And so we have some folks that choose to do that, our 2 challenges, which we brought in a couple years ago and seem to be very popular. And then finally, Boston Marathon qualifier. As I said, we've gotten a reputation as being a very flat and fast course, and our Boston Marathoner qualifier percentage bears that out. Our historical record is actually closer to 17%. So last year we finished 51st in the nation in terms of percentage who qualified of all races. Usually that's a little bit higher, and so 2 years ago we were 39th in the country. So hopefully we'll get a little closer to that again, but as I said, in terms of the state and the region, we're certainly a highly sought after race. And then, as I was speaking to in terms of participants from outside the city or Hampton roads, Last year we had 39 states represented, which I think is the most ever. Maybe this year we'll break into the 40s. And so folks really do come from throughout the country and even other countries to come attend our One City Marathon. But some things that we have highlighted for 2025, some exciting things I wanted to share with council and the community here tonight. One thing we're very excited about, and it was actually announced when we did the announcement for the race again this past summer. But this year we're excited to host the National Black Marathoners Association. Every year they pick one race throughout the country, and that serves as kind of the home base for their summit. Last year they were in Oakland. This year they selected Newport News in the One City Marathon. So we're excited to host them. It should be several hundred participants from their organization coming. They've got a strong base here on the East Coast and in Virginia. So we're very excited to showcase all that we have. And some of their members that have actually run in the race previously recommended it to the group, and they're excited to come on out and see what we have to offer in the hospitality that we have. Another exciting thing, for those that can remember when the race first started, we had charitable partners. Because of kind of the dynamics of the race, we went away from that model, but it's something that we've always kind of looked into expanding again. And so this year the opportunity came up to work with one of our existing title sponsors, Bayport Credit Union. They have the Bayport Foundation. It provides scholarships for folks here in Newport News and throughout Hampton Roads. They came to us with a proposal, and it was such a great opportunity for the race to give back to the community. We thought it was something well worth pursuing. So we're excited to try it out this year. Hopefully it's something that we can grow on beyond this year, but we'll be excited at the end of the race to actually contribute back into the community like we once did. So that's an exciting addition to the race lineup. And then a few things I just wanted to touch on quickly. One, I've already mentioned it, kind of the pre-race health and wellness pop-up series. Every year, and credit to our communications team, they do an amazing job with this, working with our sponsors. And so we provide free opportunities throughout the community and for the public to take advantage of it. I know it's really popular for our city employees, but also for the larger community as well. So all of those continue to go on leading up to the race, and we'll have several more before race weekend. We've got a renewed focus on kind of the atmosphere along the race course itself. It is a point-to-point race for the marathon, so that is 26 miles to fill with folks cheering you on. So there's a few spots along the race that are a little quiet. We're looking to fill those up. So we've always had great attendance from our friends with Newport News Public Schools. We're looking to add a few more opportunities along the route to cheer on our runners and spur them on with a little bit of energy. And then finally, we've taken all opportunities we could to highlight the amazing accomplishment this past year of being recognized as an All-American City Award recipient, and so that will be highlighted prominently in a lot of the marketing that we do, and I think you all will see it on race weekend. So turning quickly to the race weekend itself, this is more of a reminder. So the races have not changed much. We've been thankful that the courses themselves stay the same this year. Also, kind of the times for those stay the same. So as a reminder, Saturday is our shorter races, the Santerra 5K and then Ferguson Cares Nautical Mile. Those will be at City Center, and you'll see the times in front of you, 8 and then 9:30. And then swing on over after the race and come on and join us and our friends at Tradition Brewing. They host the One City celebration on Saturday, which runs 8 to noon. And then Sunday for the long races, they run throughout the city, so there's really no geographic footprint to speak of for that one. Both races, the full and the half, end up right here at Coastal Fermentary in our yard district. So we're excited again to have that partnership. Both races begin at 7 o'clock and then they last. Course closes as the runners move along it, or should say open up as the runners move along it. And then the final runners finish close to 2 o'clock. And that is really when the One City celebration ends on Sunday. So final note, just want to thank all of our sponsors. You see our title sponsors listed there. They've come back and many of them have stayed around since the inception of the race. We could not do this without our sponsors, both our title sponsors, but throughout the range. Thank you as well to the huge number of volunteers. Every year we have about 500 volunteers that make this thing possible, sometimes even more than that. We could not do it without our volunteers. And then obviously all the staff, all the staff that make this possible as well, and including our Flat Out events, who are our partner, professional race day partner in this effort as well. See there, registration is still going. I actually just received word that this year we are not going to close it early. And so, in fact, it'll stay open. That's the first year we want to try to make it as conducive to anyone signing up late as they can. So online registration will stay open until race weekend. So that first day, March 1st, and then the second day, March 2nd. With that, I'll take any questions. I do want to put the plug out. City of Newport News employees can participate for free in this race, and that goes the same for council as well. So if anyone wants to participate in any of the races, not just the marathon, please let us know. We'll make sure y'all get registered. But as always, appreciate council's support and appreciate y'all coming out and kicking off the races, even if you're not necessarily running yourself. So please let me know if anyone wants to be involved, and we'll make it happen. Councilman Neely.
Thank you for that great presentation and update. Being that we have the NBMA organization coming here, which we're going to bring hundreds of people to our area, do we have like a separate agenda for them coming to here?
Great question. So in fact, we've worked closely with our friends in tourism, who are working closely with the race coordinator there, or the event coordinator, I should say, and we're doing everything we can to show them as much of a good time as we can that weekend between the races themselves. So we're connecting them with eating establishments. We've connected them with our host hotel where they'll be staying. So we're doing everything we can to make sure that the occasion is a memorable one for them.
And maybe even add the different museums we have locally.
Yeah.
Here.
It's a great idea.
Because a lot of them bring their family members and their children.
It's a great idea. Yeah, we will certainly do so.
Thank you so much.
I had a quick question.
Yeah, please.
I don't know how many other marathons are ran or, are active here in the state of Virginia, but where do we rank as far as, is it the first one of the season? Are we the second, third?
It's a great question. I don't know exactly, but I mean, I certainly know kind of anecdotally what I've heard. In terms of the region, we are certainly looked at as kind of a kicking off marathon season. We're one of the earlier races. From what I understand, when it was initiated, that was by design, really get out ahead of a few others. It is generally, I know our friends with Flat Out events, it is the beginning of a very long running season for them as well. So I think we get out before most of the larger races in the state. And so for many, it's kind of a warm up to get themselves going for their running season.
Thank you.
I got a question.
Please.
With the 39 states that participated in the One City Marathon, are we seeing an uptick in sales, meals, and lodging tax that it's more than expense on the city, or are we making a profit to the marathon? Or?
So we don't make a profit. I mean, it's like a special event that we have for all of our other special events. Profit has never necessarily been the goal. We have tried to capture as much as we can in terms of an ROI, like we're trying to do for some of our other events. We've got some anecdotal evidence. Every year after the race, we do a post-race survey. We ask those that respond to give us a sense of like how many establishments they ate out at, things like that. So we've got numbers like that. And then every year we always sell out of our rooms, and so we try to our blocked rooms, and so we try to capture as many heads in beds that we're getting for that weekend. So we've got some good anecdotal evidence to support how many folks it draws in and how much of their funds do they spend in the city when they're not actually running in the races. Great, thank you. I appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you race day weekend. Thanks.
Thanks, Owen. Next up, we'll have the city auditor entry plan. I'll turn it over to Mr. Manager.
Good afternoon. The second item on this evening's agenda is the city auditor's entry plan. This plan outlines progress in establishing the office of the city auditor and identifies key tasks for the effective operations during the office's first 6 months. We have with us this evening Tammy Dantzler, who's the city auditor, and she will deliver the presentation to you today. Tammy?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council, City Manager. Thank you for this opportunity to present what we've been actively doing since my entry date of December 3rd. Here's a brief agenda of the areas I will cover. So first, the most important part of the work we've done or the efforts that we made is the Office of the City Auditor Work Charter Ordinance. This ordinance will establish the Office of the City Auditor. And the actions to date, we met with the city manager to discuss the ordinance. We applied his suggested languages. We submitted it to the city attorney. He worked effortlessly with us to make sure it was legal. Then we submitted to the city manager, and hopefully tonight it passes. The next is to create a shared workspace, because right now we have a team of 4, hoping to expand to at least 8. We did not have the office space for 8 people. So instead of costing the city additional money, I wanted to create a shared workspace that my office as well as the city clerk office can share, like a hotel and space. So in order to do that, we had to clear out like historical documents, dispose of old furniture, order new furniture, change the carpet that has been there for 30+ years, and initiate renovations like paint, and then create some more office space, like a counter, so if people don't have to have an individual office, they'll have a work counter. Hopefully, in the next 90 days, all of the renovations will be completed and we can actually utilize the shared office space. One of the biggest lifts of the establishment of the city auditor was to institutionalize the fraud, waste, and abuse hotline. Actions to date, I really needed to update this because we're ready to go live after you all pass the ordinance. Some of the campaign methods we're going to do, posters, we're going to display posters throughout the city, across all city and public areas like public libraries, any city offices or buildings, have a banner on the LTS system. I'm going to coordinate with communications for some other recommendations of implementations, but these are just some of the things that we came up with where we could spread the news about the fraud, waste, and abuse hotline. Hiring additional staff, this also needed to be updated because to date, HR and budget, they can relax because I won't be bugging them anymore. But they have worked with me effortlessly as well to make sure that I get some jobs posted, and hopefully by the end of this week, these jobs will be posted. So everything in the 60 days has already been accomplished. Citywide risk assessment, nothing has been done to date because there's so many other efforts that we needed to make, especially with the ordinance and institutionalizing the fraud, waste, and abuse hotline. But this citywide risk assessment it's going to require me to talk to the directors to get to know what they do. So I'm titling this Get to Know You sessions. Then I will compile the meeting notes and complete that risk assessment, discuss it with the city manager, and I will use this to start my annual audit plan. Which brings me to the annual audit plan. Another part of the annual audit plan, I would meet with city council members. I have met with the mayor and several city council members. I reviewed previous internal audit plans. So what's left for me to do is to continue to meet with the remaining city council members, schedule an office retreat among my team. We take the risk assessment and then we look at the concerns of the mayor, vice mayor, and the city council, as well as the city manager. We come up with the audit plan. We present the audit plan with the council. And we discuss it with the city manager and present it to the council. Then I will come and publicly present the audit plan for your approval. Then we execute it. Because this is a new office and a new audit shop, we need to find a way to electronically manage the audit recommendation process. And the reason why this is important is because we make recommendations, the city departments, they come up with their correction action plan, but there's no follow-up to ensure that they implemented the plan. But that can be a massive tracking device if we don't come up with an electronic way to manage the process. So the department heads or the owners of the process can respond to our recommendations and we could track whether or not they were implemented. So I met with the Innovation Office to assess the in-house development. We listened to webinars, we've listened to demos, I researched other localities' methodology. So in the remaining days, we hope to attend other demos from outside marketing, automated work papers marketing companies, and then we assess if there is an opportunity for in-house development. If so, whatever we choose, an in-house development or off-shelf purchase, we will roll out to the city for implementation, and hopefully in a year, once we issue audits, make the recommendations, the management do the corrective actions, we'll follow up on the recommendations, and this process would work. Any questions?
Before we get to, I want to let the Vice Mayor get opportunity. I know you were the sponsor and sort of the lead on this. Would love sort of questions, feedback, and then we'll open it up to the crowd.
So if we can, I want to do the questions first because I just have comment. Yeah.
Okay, Cleon, Councilman Long.
I know citizens are going to probably ask, what exactly is the fraud, waste, and abuse hotline, and is there feedback? Can you speak a little bit more to what that means for citizens and employees, why they would make a call to the hotline?
So a fraud, waste, and abuse hotline is a mechanism where anyone in the city, outside the city, that may see potential fraud, waste, and abuse in the city. So it gives them a mechanism to call the hotline. It is anonymous. What they do when they call it, we have several different medias that they can use. We got email, we got a portal on the website, we got a telephone number, they can send a letter, they can come talk in person. When they see this potential fraud, waste, and abuse, they report it, we review it, we authenticate it. Authentication means that we decide whether we need to investigate or if it's something outside our jurisdiction or it's something that we need to refer. Once we investigate and we close it out, the portal allows them, it assigns them a case number and a passcode. The portal allows them to see the result, not not the conclusion, but the result, whether we closed, whether it was authenticated or not, or if we referred it, or it was outside jurisdiction. So if it was substantiated, we'd just say substantiated, no names, no what the city did to correct it, unless it becomes a recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
If nothing, just a quick comment, Tammy. Thank you for the presentation. I also want to say thank you to everyone that has been a part of this onboarding process, right? This is, anytime you have a new system or a new process, right, there are going to be a few challenges along the way. And so I think everyone has stepped up. I know there are still a few more things that we need to all align on, but I'm confident that we can do that for sure. So for the council members that have not had an opportunity to get with Ms. Dancer, please do so. Just high level, you know, there might be some things that you're thinking about, just to put on her radar. It'll be extremely helpful to do so. But again, I think in the next few weeks, we're really going to work on alignment, manager's office, attorney's office, everyone that needs to be involved, so that way we can ensure everyone is on the same page going forward.
Absolutely. So let me close by saying thank you to the mayor, vice mayor, city council, city manager, for trusting me to be your city auditor. Thank you for city management, his team. I can Bob, Mabel, everyone. But I also want to thank my team, because I could not do anything without my team. And two of them are present today, so I just wanted to introduce Susie and Jennifer, because this lift was not done by Tammy alone, so thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I think next up, we're going to go straight to comments, ideas, and suggestions. So I'll actually just start before I turn it over to the city manager to talk about some of the federal budget freezings that happened. So for those who are unaware, from the White House this morning, I think it's executive order, perhaps that's the wrong vernacular, but there's basically a freezing of a lot of the federal programs. This is going to impact universities, cities, et cetera. And so I think Alan and I talked for 2 hours, I think was our phone call this morning, maybe longer than that. And I asked Alan just to pull a prelim of like what is our potential risk. And I think right now the federal freeze is until like February 10th, and then we're probably going to take our time to reevaluate. But he'll just give an initial sort of numbers, and then we'll go from there. Alan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, first of all, let me say that receiving the news this morning through the media, has generated an opportunity for us, and along with many others, I think, to ask a lot of questions. There have been a number of communication pieces from the White House to try to articulate what is included and what is not included. So I'd like to preface my remarks by saying at this particular hour and date, I do not have an exact number. I can only share with you the kind of magnitude that if you look at all federal revenue that comes into the city, a freeze on certain grant programs and projects would mean to the city of Newport News. But so this is not intended to cause concern, and I do want to say that as the day has gone on, we have been able to discover additional information to try to clarify what communication has been released from the Office of Management and Budget in Washington regarding this matter. So what we do know is that the pause does not apply across the board, that it is expressly limited to programs, projects, and activities impacted by the President's executive order, specifically as referenced by this communication, such as ending DEI, the Green New Deal, and funding non-governmental organizations that undermine the national interest. We know that Social Security and Medicare are already explicitly excluded in this guidance. And so mandatory programs like Medicaid and SNAP will continue. So that much is clear. But we are working through the guidance provided through OMB to get a further handle on what the bottom line impact may be for us. The memo states that those programs I referenced are included in the President's executive order. It's just understanding what, if any, attachment those particular priority areas mean for us. But if you may be thinking, so how much federal revenue does the city receive in the form of grants and aid? So it's $79 million, and this excludes human services projects. $79 million has been awarded and appropriated in the city's current budget. So 60 million of the 79 million is in the category of streets and bridges. 8 million of the 79 million is waterworks projects related specifically. And 11 million of the 79 million is for C&I and other programs such as the Community Development Block Grant Program and home funding. And I should also mention that the school receives, or I should say the schools reserve 14 million for school lunch program funding. So that's kind of an overall order of magnitude. I don't think that through this further clarification and guidance, we will see that kind of impact, but I think that just gives you some sense of the city's share of federal revenue that directly supports programs and activities in the city of Newport News.
So how does that affect the capital improvement plan, I think you have until like August timeframe to have it approved by city council. We'll have a better knowledge so you can continue working on that plan, but really it's more so addressing towards the budget, because I know part of the budget, you'll look at the capital improvement plan, what we have planned out.
Right. I think that's a fair comment. I also want to go back to what the freeze specifically applies to. And in this case, we know it's DEI, the Green New Deal, and funding non-governmental organizations that undermine the national interest. That's where the focus of the president's order is concentrated.
Okay. All right.
I mean, that last one is pretty vague. So I'm a little. I mean, I know you don't have more details outside of.
We'll get clarity.
That's it. That's it.
I've been on a few of the calls today with the other mayors. So I think, and I don't want to get on Owen's toes, I think some of the things that we're taking a look at is around climate and flood mitigation and sustainability and coal. That's probably like the biggest impact. But the freeze is only for 2 weeks, and then the admin is going to take a whole look at it. So I think we have some time, but just wanted to give out that information today for council and for the viewers. If that's a good person, go around. Anything else?
No, sir.
Attorney?
Nothing.
Just briefly, I appreciate the brief from everyone, especially with everything that's going on right now. Just one comment I want to make about the federal funding is that I think it depends on how long this is going to go on, but we may want to anticipate some outreach from our nonprofit partners who are relying on a lot of federal funding. And from what I've heard already, that their mechanism for drawdowns was cut off even earlier than announced earlier today, where I thought the cancellation was, the freeze was going to stop at 5 p.m., but it actually started earlier than that. So I just want to get that on the radar. If this goes on for months, it may be a real challenge, because we do have nonprofits out there that are doing some tremendous work, and they want to continue to do that work. So, but also, I also want to thank, this may seem like very small potatoes right now, but our leaf collection process, I've had a lot of conversations with Bo about this, and I think we're making some good headway on it, but I'd love to continue this conversation, because I think it's a combination of equipment, staffing, weather, right? And also some of our good citizens putting out their leaves maybe 30 days before the collection starts, and also after the collection starts is a wide range of issues, but this is something that's been hot. I think that everybody's gotten the emails over the last couple of weeks, so I'd just love to continue the conversation to see if we can come to a resolution.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah, I did have something real quick, and I don't know if this is even something that we would be able to address as a council, or it would be something that would be addressed with the school board. But with the executive orders that have taken place, and then with the deportation mandates that have taken in effect, we have a good number of ESL students in our system, and I'm just trying to get some feel as to what it may look like going back to school, because gotten calls from being a former educator at Denby High School, where the ESL program was pretty good number of students in the program. They're not even wanting to go to school tomorrow, and obviously that's going to impact a lot of things within the community, in addition to just some of the mandates for attendance policy for the school system, how that's going to be, or if there's something on our side of it that we could address, or because you're looking at least 300 plus students at the school that are in the ESL program that are, and that's one school, that are hesitant to go to school tomorrow. So I don't know if that's something that we could look at or address or even speak to.
Yeah, I can speak to it. We've been on the phone today with the superintendent and the school board chair, so we'll have action coming in the next week or so around that. So we have meetings scheduled concerning that.
That's all.
Just three things on mine. So appreciate Councilman Coleman mentioning the leaf collection. That's been it's been a hot button issue. So if we could just for next year, I think it's the early timeline, equipment, et cetera. But I know there's been a lot of consternation, I would guess, about the leaves. I think there's still some leaves around my house. So every time I walk outside, someone said, "When are the leaves getting picked up?" I don't know. So that's what I tell them, and then I give them Councilman Neely's cell phone number. The second one, on a more serious note, is I think for the nonprofits. This morning when I heard the news, the first thing I thought about was Port, right, and our homeless shelter. Like that's the biggest thing. I think some of the bigger ones, can last a week or so. But my biggest concern, and I understand that the freeze is temporary. But I don't fully understand the drawdown when it comes to Port and the other things. If someone could just take a look, that's probably a Ginger question, but if someone could just take a look at that, I just want to make sure that if there needs to be a stopgap, that we're able to do some sort of council action. I was able to go to, I think it's All Generations is the report's at now. They have it for 3 weeks, so I think if council could go and just express support to All Generations, it would be good. There's a growing number. I know you're working with Alan on the homeless point in time, but it's a growing number. You're seeing a lot of families, and my concern is that any sort of federal freeze will somehow affect our port system. And the last thing is Councilwoman Vick is not here, but she's the sponsor for this request. It's the exact same request as last year. I know everyone has signed it. As a reminder, we sign it 2 weeks before, and then we talk about it. So I have all the requests. It's for Dr. Norwood. It's the 3rd annual 2025 Excel Summit, Remind You Wellness. I think she's been a partner with the city for a long time. So I just need a motion that we're going to support this request of $5,000. The date of the event is March 7th through March 9th, 2025. I think everyone signed it, but I'm going to need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Move to second it. Could you call the roll at this time, ma'am?
Councilman Coleman.
4.
Councilman Dooley.
4.
Councilman Harris.
4.
Mayor Jones.
4.
Councilman Long.
4.
Vice Mayor Bethany.
4.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you. And as a result, sorry, it's been a long day. With these requests, if you need to know what we've spent, I have the roster here. We have 5 more months, and we can probably give, I think I talked to Councilman Neely about this, $1,000 goes a long way to some of these smaller ones. So there's an opportunity, get it to Bob early. He can vet it. We can sign it. I think it's a pretty strong program. So it's almost like a micro grant program, to be honest. So I think that's all I have on my end. Are there any save rounds from anyone else? If not, Councilman Long, please take us into closed session.
I move that pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended, subsection 3 and 7, that the council hold a closed meeting for the purpose of 7, consultation with legal counsel pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation, briefing, and open meeting will adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body, the subject which is threatening litigation involving tort claims. 3, discussion or consideration of the disposition of publicly held property where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining and negotiating strategy of the city, subject which is the potential disposition of public held property in the southern section of the city. And 3, a discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the city, the subject which is the potential acquisition of real property in the central section of the city.
Second.
I think we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilman Coleman.
4.
Councilman Ely.
4.
Councilman Harris.
4.
Mayor Jones.
4.
Councilman Long.
4.
Vice Mayor Bethany.
4.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you.
About to say.
That's the correct word. It was shaky.
So I realize the other localities don't, they do it exactly how we practice it. Yeah, so there's no other way. Which I'm fine with.
I move that members of the council certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters of office exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion but which closed meeting were convened, heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting by the council.
As a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. At this time, please call the roll.
Councilman Coleman.
4.
Councilman Ely.
4.
Councilman Harris.
4.
Mayor Jones.
4.
Councilman Long.
4.
Vice Mayor Bethany.
4.
Motion carried 6-0.
At this time, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Oh, I spoke.